The DJI Flip is made for vloggers and solo creators who want to document their adventures and get interesting shots without a whole lot of hassle. But rather than just telling you how to use the Flip, we want to show you our process and take you along as we create a quick little review video of this e-bike using the Flip as our only camera and the DJI Mic 2 to record my voice. The plan is to get various B-roll shots using the automated smart snaps in several locations and get some talking shots while tracking myself on the bike. We are going to use my iPhone to control the Flip, change settings, and record audio. So first, we connected the DJI Mic 2 directly to my iPhone by powering on the mic and pressing and holding the linking button until the light rapidly flashes blue. You go into the phone's Bluetooth setting and you should see the DJI mic there. If it doesn't show up, which ours didn't at first, press and hold the record button until the linking light turns green. Then press and hold the record button and put it back into Bluetooth mode and try again. Press the linking button until it rapidly flashes blue. The light will be solid blue when it's connected successfully. In the Fly app, make sure the mic icon doesn't have a line through it because that means it's muted. Tap it if it's muted. Notice this icon right above the mic. If you tap that, you'll see the voice commands that you can use, like this. Hey Fly, take off. There is a delay of a few seconds from saying the command to when the drone actually responds, so keep that in mind. Hey Fly, close follow. That's pretty close follow. Or how about this? Hey Fly, 20-meter droney. It's nice to have the DJI mic to record audio and give voice commands, but you can also do it with a built-in mic from your phone as well. Okay, so there are two different voice modes. We've got an airplane flying overhead, we've got the noise of the drone, and right now I am in natural mode, which actually takes down the drone noise a little bit, but still leaves it in so that it sounds more natural. Now I'll switch it to pure mode on my app. So I'll go down to app recording, hit pure, and go back and hit record. And now it's recording in pure mode, and you can hear my voice. Pure mode is supposed to eliminate the drone noise altogether and just have the voice. So natural sounds more natural with a little bit of drone noise. Pure is supposed to just be your voice without the drone noise at all. For the first shot of the bike review, we thought we'd have the drone hover in place as I rode into frame and gave a little intro. We're going to go ahead and take off using the manual control using the phone. So I just hit take off. And then I'm going to move the drone backwards just a little bit away from me. And I want to ride up this trail over here. And I'm going to tilt the camera down a little bit. And if you prefer to actually fly the drone with a little more real estate in your screen, you can hit this full screen button, and that gives you these virtual joysticks that allow you to move the drone around and do all those things, but in a bigger, more spacious area. So I'm going to take the drone just a little bit higher, and where I want to end up is right about there. So I'll get the bike and we'll do the shot. So you want to double check that you're in video mode and you've got the mic connected and you're getting audio. I was in photo mode a moment ago and accidentally hit the photo button, but I'll go ahead and start the recording on video. The drone should just stay right where it is and I'll ride into frame. This gravel bike from Van... So I landed in manual control. You just hit the little landing button and hit this button, hold it down, put your hand out, and it'll land right in your hand. When you want to record audio with the video on the Flip, we recommend using these modes: manual control, follow, spotlight, and direction track. The reason is that you're more in control of the recording in these modes. Whereas in the other modes, the recording starts and stops automatically, and it's hard to know exactly when you're recording and capturing audio because there's often a few seconds of delay between when the video records and when the audio actually starts recording. We'll get some more talking parts done later, but let's go over the smart snaps first. In follow mode, if you tap the options, you can choose how close it follows you, close, medium, or far, as well as the height, low, flat, or high. For all of these modes, after setting your preferences, tap the little down arrow to collapse this menu. When you press start, it will lock onto you or whatever subject you choose, and it will follow behind you. Even though DJI says there's no obstacle sensing when using one of the Smart Snaps modes, we have had the Flip stop when there was a tree in the way, while following us from behind. Having said that, don't rely on it. Obstacle sensing only officially works when manually flying the flip forwards or when it's in return to home mode. By the way, whenever you are in a Smart Snaps mode and you need to reposition the drone before pressing start, tap the icon in the lower left to bring up the joysticks, which will allow you to fly manually. The next Smart Snaps mode is Droney. You can set the max distance that the drone will fly away from you, and you can also set whether it rises or just flies away flat. When it's set to rise, the drone will reverse and increase in altitude. Keep in mind that there's no obstacle detection sensor in the rear, so make sure you have space to do this. When you set the Droney to remain flat, the flip will reverse while maintaining its height. Notice that once the Droney starts, it doesn't actually try to keep the subject in the frame. This can be used to your advantage if you want to walk into the shot as the drone is on its way back. One quick word of warning, the flip doesn't seem to come back to where it took off from. I often find myself reaching or stepping forward to help land it in my hand. So don't do a Droney on the edge of a cliff unless your phone is handy so that you can fly it back to you. Now let's talk about circle mode. The settings you can change in circle mode are the distance between you and the flip as well as the height. We hadn't really tried the low mode before, and it actually looks pretty cool, but in our case, especially at this close distance, it didn't really highlight the e-bike like we wanted. The flat mode, set to circle a little bit farther away, was a better option for us because it showcased the e-bike. In rocket mode, you can not only change the height, but you can also make it rotate. After you take off, the flip will fly directly above you before actually beginning the recording. Having it rotate while it's going up is definitely more interesting. Just like the Droney, the flip will stop recording at its greatest distance away from you, and then it will start recording a new video as it heads back towards you. In spotlight mode, the flip will hover in place and rotate or yaw around to keep you in the shot. This is one of the modes that's good for recording audio, but for us, we just plan to use this as a B-roll shot. If your final video is going to be vertical, you might choose to record vertically, but keep in mind that if you record vertically, you're cropping in on the sensor. The camera doesn't actually rotate 90 degrees, but when you change the recording mode to 9:16, there seems to be two separate settings that don't affect each other: manual control and everything else. In manual control, you can switch to vertical in the preferences on screen, but when you go to a Smart Snaps mode, we noticed that we were still in landscape mode. To switch to vertical, you'll need to go into the settings on the lower right and adjust it from there. Now, all your Smart Snaps modes will be in vertical. And in our experience, even if you power off the flip, it will remember these settings. So if you leave it in vertical mode, the next time you take off and use a Smart Snap, it will be recording vertically. The last of the flight modes is custom mode. Within that mode, you can find 3 sub-modes to choose from: helix, boomerang, and direction track. Let's start with helix. After setting the max distance, the flip will fly around you and increase in altitude. Boomerang has the same max distance settings as well. The flight path is actually quite interesting. It will back away from you before the recording starts. Then it will fly up, over to the side, and then come back around the other side and back down. Now for the final custom mode, direction track, there are distance and height settings to choose from. The way this mode works is after pressing the start button, the flip will back up and make sure you're at the correct distance. Then it will hover for a few seconds, and that's when you can start moving, and the flip will maintain its relative position with you. If you go towards the flip, it will move backwards. If you go sideways, the flip will track you from the side. You definitely need to keep an eye on obstacles and steer the drone by using your movement. Also, if you turn too quickly, the flip won't be able to keep up with you if it was tracking you from the side or the front. When that happens, it will revert to following you from behind. Now that we've got all the B-roll we need, let's finish the main talking section of the review. I decided to use direction track from the front while recording this part. I chose the medium distance and the flat height. That way I can keep an eye on it as I maneuver through the trees. Whenever I would turn, the flip would take a few seconds to adjust, but overall it stayed in front of me pretty much the whole time.
So if you're in the middle of your shoot and you want to check and make sure that your footage is turning out well, you can just push this little album button down here and it will actually give you a low resolution preview on your phone from the flip. So now I can see and hear that I have video and audio of what we just recorded, which is very reassuring because you hate to get back to your home or office and say, oh no, we didn't get anything.
What's nice about this bike?
One thing to note, if you preview a recording on your phone, if you recorded audio, the Fly app will actually combine the audio with the video while also leaving the separate audio files on the SD card. This is a very convenient feature, and I wish DJI would just combine the files by default. But one thing we noticed was that the embedded audio didn't always line up with the video. Even the separate audio files didn't line up and are not always the same length as the videos. Here you can see there's about 5 frames of delay in the embedded audio, so if you want your lip sync to look good, you probably have to make some manual adjustments. Now it's time to show you the final review of this e-bike we created using only the DJI Flip as our camera.
Hey Fly, stop.
The audio that you hear is from the DJI Mic 2 connected to my phone, which is connected to the Flip, and it doesn't sound great because of the noise removal, but it sounds okay. As we mentioned earlier, natural mode sounded pretty much the same as pure mode, and that's something that may change when the software gets updated. If we had to do this again, we would just use the iPhone's microphone as reference audio and the DJI Mic 2 for the main audio and record internally to the mic without connecting it to my phone. When the mic is connected via Bluetooth, the internal recording feature is not available. All right, let's check out this little video we did about the e-bike.
This gravel bike from Van Powers is amazing. I have been riding it for several weeks now, and I love it because it feels like a regular bike. It looks like a regular bike, but it gives you that extra boost that an e-bike gives. And it feels like you're riding with more power than you might have naturally. So what's nice about this bike is it doesn't look like an e-bike. It doesn't feel like an e-bike. It feels like a normal bike that you might have ridden as a kid and had some fun on. And it just goes really well over pavement. It goes really well in grass. It's not overly powered either. So if you're actually trying to get a little bit of exercise while you're riding it, you can do that because it uses the torque sensor to actually give you power based on how hard you pedal. One other thing I really like about this bike is that because it's a gravel bike, it's pretty comfortable to ride and capable to ride off-road. So right now I'm riding on just a little single track through a park. It's not super bumpy or rocky. It's pretty smooth, but it's also not pavement. And the bike does great riding on that condition. It's really nice to have something that you can take both on-road and a little bit off-road if you don't go too crazy with it. There's a lot of bike manufacturers out there that are making the same bike over and over again. This one is very different, and I like that about it. I like its uniqueness. I like its authenticity as an actual bicycle, and I just like the way it feels. It's a ton of fun to ride. Given a choice between this bike, which is a little more like a real bike, and a giant fat-tired e-bike with an overpowered motor, I'd take this one any day.
Wow. All right, Chris. That's really good. That's way better than I expected. So there you go. There's a short version of our review of that Van Powers e-bike. And that entire video was shot and all the audio was recorded using the DJI Flip and the DJI Mic 2. Pretty amazing in my opinion. If you're looking for something that you can take out and use as a solo creator to be able to record audio and video to do reviews, vlogs, and any other solo content, the Flip is really a great option. We'd love to hear your thoughts about it below. Please leave a comment or a question. We'll be sure to get back to you. And thanks for watching Ready, Set, Drone.
Come on back, baby.
Baby, come back.
You did good.